Good evening. Today is Thursday, April 13th, 2017. The time is 7:05 or 19:05. This is the monthly meeting of the Beech Grove Redevelopment Commission. I will ask our members starting to my right to introduce themselves.
Ed Bell.
Kathy Chappell, Secretary.
Ron Moat, Vice President.
I'm Donald Webb, the President. Jay Oswald is not here tonight, and Rick Skirvin, who is our school board representative, is also missing tonight. We'll start off with first asking for approval of the minutes, which everybody has a copy. If there were any corrections or anything wants to talk about, that's fine. Otherwise, I'd ask for a motion to approve them.
I'll make said motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The minutes are approved. The next thing will be the payment of our bills. This month, we have bills totaling $21,977. They are as follows. I got them earlier. Pardon me for. We have our sewer bill, which is $15. Tim Schulwalder, who tapes our meetings, thank you, Tim, $225. Crossroads Engineers, $19,200. That money is for the Greenway and environmental work for that. Lewis Capps, which is our lawyer, $312. And Mike Kleinflutter, I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, $22.25. That one I did not see. I'm not sure what he did for us.
That's for the planning grant.
Okay, that's right, planning grant. We talked about that last month and we approved that, so that's where that came from. So those are the bills for tonight. Any questions? If not, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
No.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bills are passed. So first up tonight, I'd introduce Kevin Parsons. I reached out to Kevin, I don't know, a month, 2 months ago, and I got his name through Gary Newport of Crossroads Engineering to talk about possibly coming to the RDC and working on a plan to revitalize or make more attractive the I-465 Emerson interchange and make it better looking for Beech Grove and maybe more attractive, to make Beech Grove look more attractive in the eyes of those who drive by on 465 every day. So I'd ask Kevin to come on up, or he can stand over at the podium, or however you want to do it, Kevin.
Okay, thanks. Kicked off over here. I don't know what all you want to talk about tonight or how much, but we've prepared, I'm Kevin Parsons. It's Kevin Parsons Associates, Landscape Architects and Urban Designers is what we are. Our offices are downtown Indy in the historic Stutz building. And we've been this firm's about 25 years old actually this year. I've been practicing for almost twice that, but not quite. With me tonight is John Lapp. He's our senior project manager. He's also a licensed landscape architect. So I asked him to come along just to introduce himself to you guys and get in on the discussion tonight. You want to hand the books out, John, and leave the fifth one for the person that's not here. We prepared just a little qualification book of some past projects, similar, and some of them aren't real similar, but fairly recent and might have some bearing. There's a little company history in the book that starts out, our resumes, John and mine, a little mention of some award work, and then we get into several pages of just little outline profiles, if you will, of some past projects. We've been working on gateway projects, at least I have, my entire career. Most recently, it's not complete, but we've been working out in Plainfield on a 3.5 mile long gateway there on State Road 267, which is called Quaker Boulevard now. And we've completed 2 phases. It was just completed this last year, so it's not total photogenic yet, but it's coming along. And we're doing a second one for the town of Plainfield right now at a new intersection with Raceway Road and US 40 Main Street also that is going out to bid any month now, we hear. And they're waiting on a sewer project to get out of the way is what the holdup is on that bid project. But excuse me. If you want to look through the book at your own leisure, or I can go through and again explain a few of them. The first one there. We also just completed this last year, a total refreshment and revamping of the Eli Lilly corporate headquarters downtown, their front door of their corporate building, their headquarters building right there, which included all new landscape and new pavement and kind of a new image, if you will, for their front door. That's what that very fun project. Don did warn us that you don't have the budget that Lilly has. So
Nobody has. a
we
budget.
were aware of that anyway, so. The next page shows some graphics from the Quaker Plainfield Master Plan and one photograph there, one of the monuments we did. We also worked on the Merrill Street project there down by Lily's. It was a City of Indianapolis project, but Lilly was involved. It's a pedestrian connector where they vacated the street, is what that one is. And that was used with NDOT funding. We did a sustainable garden there for Lilly. Another little gateway piece was a sculpture that a retired doctor who became a sculptor did of the RNA molecule, and it's down at the interchange right there by Lilly's campus, Madison Avenue. What that exit's called?
McCarty Street.
Yeah, McCarty Street exit, exactly. And that, we just helped the artist cite this and get the thing approved with NDOT and get it all located. And of course, NDOT got involved and did a lot of relocation on us where it should really go in their eyes. And then earlier, we did, several years ago, right there where the Rolls Royce is now, Lilly actually owned that area at the time in Kite Development with the Ferris Building. We did the Meridian Street Arts Plaza, which was the first south of downtown gateway in all of downtown. There's more than one now, but that was kind of the first one when we worked with engineers, but we reconstructed the streets down in there and then built this park. And it's actually vacated right away of South Meridian Street is what this little triangular area was. And we set it up for a future sculpture. And then between the Arts Council and Lilly, they selected a sculptor to install his work, which turned out to be Meryl Streep's husband, Don Gummer. And she came to town for the dedication. That was kind of a fun project, but we actually designed it for a future sculpture, and then they hired us back to actually help site the sculpture when it was shipped here from New York. And then earlier on the next page, the South Downtown Corridor improvements, it was kind of a 10-year program, if you will, with NDOT funding and through the City of Indianapolis to beautify the south entrance into downtown, which was Madison Avenue and parts of Henry Street and South Meridian Street there, and then that Arts Plaza I was just talking about was all part of that. So they were kind of done in multi-phases. And then an earlier one, if you're on the page that looks similar to this was a master plan on the I-70 interchanges we did back in the mid-90s. It was kind of one of the earlier interstate interchange appearance that kind of established what could be done, and NDOT got on board, and not all that was ever implemented. Parts of it have been. The Illinois Street exit ramp was implemented, and primarily planting. There was no sculpture or monuments there. And then the West Street project, which was really the first one that got things going downtown, which was also back in the mid-90s. And that was from the I-65 interchange all the way down to the I-70 interchange. And again, that was primarily just tree planting, no other type structures. So that's kind of our recent, in the last 10, 15 years of gateway-type projects. I think we won a design competition for the I-65 exit onto West Street in 2006. And that's what the Gateway Circle was on here. And I'll let you read all the detail later if you want to. But it was built as an international design competition. We did win. We won first place. We had a team, a bunch of engineers and artists on our team. Unfortunately, that was when Mayor Peterson got beat, Ballard took over, and this project went on the back burner, and it's never come back to life since. So. But we could still claim we won the design competition. So. And NDOT still wants to rebuild that interchange. They just haven't come up with a plan yet. And we did this. It's very similar to what Carmel did on Keystone Avenue North, the Keystone Parkway. And believe it or not, we came up with the figure 8 here, which we were never the first to do that. Long before Carmel did. They just got all of theirs built long before Indianapolis ever did. So that's kind of, I think there's one more project after that, and it was a trail we did, no, Fall Creek Place neighborhood, I'm sorry. We did have some monumentation. They're smaller gateways for neighborhood scale instead of whole city scale or town scale. at Fall Creek Place, I think we had a half dozen of those or more built up in there. But we did all the landscape design, streetscape design all through I think it was 39 square blocks or something up in there in Fall Creek Place when it was built. And then I think last but not least, the Speedway Master Plan, we were part of that team when the Speedway Redevelopment Commission initiated what's become a very successful project out there in town of Speedway. And even the roundabout was part of our proposals back then that did get constructed. We were not part of the implementation team, but we're just part of the master plan team on that project. And I kept thinking there was one more, and it was, there's two more, you know. We did that master plan at the Ronald Reagan interchange without a gateway design in Brownsburg. And not sure if they ever moved forward with anything there. They do have a hospital under construction at that interchange, but no gateway, to my knowledge. I won't elaborate on that. And then the 71st Street Trail, I think is that last one that we did for City of Annapolis, which really isn't a gateway, but it was a trail connection that kind of linked the Pike Township trails back out to Eagle Creek Park, and it's part of the whole Eagle Creek Greenway trail system out there. So we wanted to give you a little variety, that we're not just gateway designers, but we do park and rec and trails and everything else too. So we have worked with Crossroads on a project in Brownsburg just last year too, so which we appreciate his recommending us to you, but Trent, but that
Your
one.
booklet's pretty impressive.
Beg your pardon?
So your booklet.
Oh, well, thank you,
Pretty
thank you,
impressive,
thank
so.
you.
Yeah, it's nice.
All right.
And, you know, we did send you a proposal for some master planning services, I think, last month.
Right.
So, and I don't know if you had a chance to digest all that or not yet, but, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat tonight or something. Too many cigarettes, I guess. And, you know, we'd like to help get started. We had to assume a lot of things with our email with you, Don.
Right.
And we do it in our proposal, I think we had this graphic as part of our, because we assume that the pieces of the interchange itself, and we saw it as 9 pieces.
Right.
There's like 3 sets of 4, 12. Yeah, 4 times 3 is 12, that's right. We're mathematicians. And not, you know, didn't know how far you wanted to go, because, you know, you're up on top, and then you're on the ramps, and then all of a sudden you're down in the interstate itself. And the levels of implementation, the levels of maintenance become much more intense the closer you are to the main road.
Right.
So, but master planning wise, we look at all of it. And we didn't know if you really wanted to go south or north of interchange on Emerson or not, which we can, we just didn't show it on this. I
Right.
didn't know if you guys had talked or really thought out your own.
I mean, if we started going south, I guess to me, if we were gonna go anywhere, we'd go north towards Beech Grove. Now granted, Beech Grove does run south, but it only runs south on the west side of Emerson. Whereas north, we'd take it into Beech Grove. And, you know, one of the things I noticed, like, when we went over to Ohio, because almost all the interchanges in Ohio, and you can remember the cities, Mason, you know, Westchester and all those, because they have their names. And even, like I saw where the 106th Street on 969, you know, they have the city of Fishers. So I guess what I envisioned, well, I saw what was neat is they had, you know, like some of the cities, they had it in like iron. Over, yeah,
Like
on the
that?
bridge.
The chimney and.
Yeah.
That's what I had, that's what I
Yeah, you know,
liked.
like the city,
I can't think of the other planet. Virginia, something like that.
yeah, like York, like if you go up 69, Yorktown has a, to me, it's
What I envisioned.
it's just Yorktown, but nice plantings, it's maintained.
Sign off the road.
Yeah, something, yeah, just, to me, something that would identify the city. You know, I think those walls, as you're exiting, you know, you talk, there'd be a place to, you know, artistic, you know, something along those lines to give us identity. But, you know, plantings would be nice. I mean, you know, you talk about the 70, we had our community day of service at Lilly. We planted most of that stuff. And it was great when we planted it, but just nobody following through to keep it up. And so I guess that would be my thought is, because we want to keep it up and keep it looking nice. So, you know, I'd envision plantings, you know, grasses or stuff like that, that would be fairly easy to maintain. Would be something along those lines. I don't, anybody else can speak on this, but that's kind of what my thought was. But we just, there's so much traffic that goes through there. I'd like people when they drive through to at least have a positive image of the city or say, huh, you know, maybe we ought to stop here because it looks clean and inviting, because you have, you know what I mean?
But you're also wanting to get to the 465
Right.
division, not just the Emerson.
Right, that's the main thing.
Well, and that's what we really didn't know on the front end, if you
Right.
want to go that far, because that, you know, you're messing with the bridge at that point, and there's a lot of things that get involved, especially with NDOT.
I was gonna ask, whatever you do up there, will NDOT have to sign off on?
Very definitely, oh yeah, we would have to coordinate, meet with them quite frequently, which is what we're doing in Plainfield, where you, I don't know, you probably haven't seen the
I like,
qualifications.
that's what I was thinking.
Plainfield, we're actually putting a big art sign out.
On both sides.
Proposed to, it's approved to, it's not designed and implemented, but, and we had to coordinate that with NDOT and anybody else. I mean, Yorktown did, Fishers did, Lebanon did, which is part of the deal that they own the right of way. And they're also concerned about the liability of it. Of course, the city has to sign a perpetual maintenance agreement that it's all yours, it's
Right.
with NDOT. It falls on their hands, they'll just tear it down, walk away, that's kind of their attitude. So you have to own it. In perpetuity.
If we decided to do something like this, would it be on the books for this year or down the road, or?
Depends on how much, you know, you want to do the first year. I mean, you can theoretically do something, get it done before Christmas, but it's quite a process, especially getting it through NDOT, getting it built. There's a lot of, you know, maintenance of traffic and temporary lane closures just to get
Right.
your contractors in and out and all that, so. Yeah, I mean, a small portion of it you could probably get done in 2017. Depends on, I mean, if we're gonna build a 300-foot tall monument out there, I doubt it. That plant material, yeah, some of that could be done. I mean, if we're looking at a sign on a bridge, if it's simple, we could theoretically get that designed and approved, whether we do it implemented or not.
On the front of your book, the one that says
Yeah.
Plainfield,
Plainfield.
we all
Yeah.
like that. Something
That
that,
was what I was
Yeah,
envisioning.
that's really what got us started in Plainfield, was that sign, and then it stretched into this 3.5
on
mile
the
project.
off-ramps, both directions on the off-ramps.
Yeah, because this is actually over the interstate.
Yeah, that's where it would be.
That's what we were
Am I
thinking.
right?
And
The
being you have,
off-ramps?
you know, with this type of bridge you have, it creates a whole different scenario with the
We've got a figure eight kind of thing.
diamond thing.
Yeah, because that's the thing, if you look the little diamonds there, I mean, to me, those would be a great place for plantings. You know, or something along those lines that would look nice. I guess what I'm looking at is, like I told these guys, you know, you pointed out in the email that there are economic benefits to the businesses in the community from having a, you know, a cleaned up exit that's more attractive. If you would want to speak to that, if you could.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, the more attractive it is, the more it's going to attract. I mean, it's an attraction thing. The key to a lot of the communities, I'm not sure what Fisher's done, but it's to get a lot of your business owners as stakeholders in the project to help the city. Even if they're just on a committee that directs the plan or whatever, because you're going to have to maintain it forever.
Right.
So even on that, it can be, you know, financial commitment, just their time and energy, but the backing and support, which helps get the word out, and the community support, because I know when we were at Plainfield, when we met with like a 22-member steering committee, and we literally had unanimous support. I mean, there was a few naysayers that didn't want the city to spend a dime on anything, but other than that, it was
That's the
pretty
bell
good
curve.
support, where you don't always get that. You probably don't have it.
No, we don't have people complaining about spending money.
Ever.
But yeah, and you know, and there's various ways to fund it. You know, you can go for NDOT matching money, those kind of things. But
Oh, that's an idea.
that
Do you know
takes a
that?
longer time to get the money. It's
Hmm.
kind of have to get on the TIPS agenda with the MPO and all that stuff to get those monies. So it takes a while. Indianapolis likes to steal most of that.
So I guess what's our first move?
Well, I mean, that's why we sent you the simple master plan to just kind of
Right,
put the concepts out of what could be done in the quadrants we have, and now that we know you're actually interested in the sign, because we really haven't talked about that yet, start exploring then what sign options we could have here. And the master plan is just going to get us focused down to which direction you think the whole thing should go, and then we could go to another phase and do some real design work, or more advanced design work, and take it that way. And, if we stay focused, then we can get into a bid package at some point.
Right, that's, I guess, what I'd like to see then.
But the master plan, I mean, we didn't propose a lot of money to be spent, because it's pretty small interchange, and we figured it would be a.
7,500, right?
Yeah. That's what we had in there. We can charge more if you want us to. But
Well, we could start off, I mean, up this way, 7,500 to give us a plan. How long do you think it would be before you'd be ready to
Well,
show that plan?
I think what we proposed, I didn't read it again today, but I thought we would prepare concepts, meet with you, discuss it, kick it around, and then focus down the real
Okay.
direction you want to go, and then refine that down to a final master plan.
Okay.
So you're involved. We're not just saying, here it is, hope you like it, but you're part of the process of getting through to really the direction we want to head. So it wouldn't be a finite drawing. But
Right, I mean, because I'll tell you, yeah, I have no problem with this. I think this is great for the city, and I'd want to bring in, or offer to bring in, of course, the mayor. And then I'd like to invite the city council members as well to, where we could have this meeting or whatever. And then when we got to I guess what we thought the final one is, then I'd want to do like a public meeting and
Sure.
invite the public for comment. But no, I see, like I say, I've gotten off interstates because they were clean interchanges and they looked nice. And I felt like, well, if it looks this nice, the restaurant I'm going to or whatever I'm going to is going to be fairly nice as well. So I see value in it for sure.
I think you're exactly right.
It's contagious.
Yeah.
The grassy area, are we talking about plantings down actually on the interstate? Or just,
Well, we can do any of it. mean,
I didn't know there was
In
enough
between the
ground there
That's
to
why I
do
thought
any
we were
plant.
in between the
We've
diamonds.
investigated
Is there enough,
These four are up on Emerson.
Right.
Right.
Of course, the ramps are on, going up and down. And then these four are kind of side slopes here.
right, but aren't there concrete walls?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Right.
concrete.
Right, so they would just be, show plant material, make it look good. And then, of course, the back slopes would be facing, the community.
And
If-
there's
if we
enough
want to do something there.
Green space there to plant? I guess I thought the wall was much closer to
There's
the,
soil there. Well, there's,
There is.
the width varies. I mean, this one's really wide and this one's narrow. But
Right.
if you remember, was it 10 years ago?
I need to go get on the interstate, I guess, I don't
When the
know.
interstate was widened through here, and I'm not sure it's when the.
Yeah, it
bridge
was.
Might have been when the bridge was built. They had
Yes.
some landscaping done there. It turned out to be a total failure.
I was gonna say, I don't remember, it's not there now.
Well, NDOT did it. I don't think the city.
They built like a storm drain with concrete down the side. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but up on the slopes, they had native wildflowers planted.
I don't remember that.
And
Must-
there was, I don't know who was responsible for maintaining it, and it didn't last.
I
By
really
year
don't
three,
remember that.
They just mowed it all down. By
Oh.
year three, they didn't care. So I don't know who was really in charge of that. I'm assuming it wasn't you guys, but or the city.
So we're probably talking just greenery there, correct?
Or we just leave it for NDOT and let them mow it, which I don't know how often they do that, but
I don't
three
know.
times a year, whether they need it or not, probably.
We'd have to investigate how.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the master plan. We would look at
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is too, when we do this, we'd have to figure out what the cost of yearly maintenance would be, because like right last month, we approved, helping the city, because they have yearly maintenance on different areas of the city that they have beautified, so, that'd be something, again, once we got into this, I'd want to explore with the city council and those as part of, because to me, if we go and spend the money to do this, it's an investment, and we need to maintain it, much like a park or a fire station or a, police department or something like that. So that's,
Would
because
your
if you're gonna
company,
do it, to your point, you look at the 70 Holt Road exit, you got orange mushrooms or whatever sitting out there in a sea of weeds. I didn't know that was DNA. I always thought that was something from the Jetsons.
Actually, this one here, you mean?
Yeah.
It's RNA. It was the.
Yeah,
He claimed it's the predecessor to the actual DNA. The RNA evolved into the DNA, so that's
But-
why he's a doctor and I'm not.
yeah,
But
but
He did
I
the sculpture.
remember doing all that planning and the mulch, and it looked good for about 3 months, and then winter came, and next spring it just, and now you got totem poles out there too, that I'm not sure what those signify, but
They need
How come Lily
less
didn't-
maintenance. The totem poles have less maintenance than the
Yeah.
go-arounds.
how come Lily doesn't maintain it?
if you
Well-
get off of McCarty Street, and Lily does maintain the area to McCarty
Right.
Street, because I mean, Lily's like working with, it's like being at Augusta. I mean, the landscape is incredible.
Their campus is for sure.
highway.
Keeping Indianapolis beautiful was kind of the driving force with Lily.
Yeah.
Right.
Pushing them and paying for them. And they made all the agreements, and then they had corporate sponsors. Well, as Don just said, there was never any follow-through and enforcement of the maintenance. I don't know if Lily still kicked money out and Duke and the other corporate sponsors, but, there was some serious failure going on. And side slopes are eroding away and plant material.
Yeah,
Could
unfortunately.
your company be hired to maintain it, or would that be a
We
landscaping
try not to get our
company?
hands dirty. We're designers, planners, and
Right.
I get dirty at home, but.
But I'm sure-
No, it would have to be, landscape.
Well, the group that Dennis asked us to approve or help pay for, I'm sure
Yeah.
they would be interested in probably maintaining that too. Would I be
Brody
wrong in saying-
Campbell?
Yeah,
Brody Campbell?
Brent Foreman, he would put a bid in on
there you go.
it.
Okay,
So,
The specifications would be written for the maintenance, so they know what they're bidding on, and they're not just thinking they need to do something, so. If it's a planned effort, it can all be done. It takes money.
Sure.
Commitment.
Right.
I have a question for him. Sure. Do you have experience submitting to the Indianapolis MPO?
Well, I've dealt with them. It's the reason we threw that last 71st Street Trail project in here. It was not on the MPO books, but the city wanted us to pursue stimulus funding. So we pursued it, which irritated and kind of hurt the MPO because it wasn't on the books. But we got the money, so they had to put it on the books, and kind of force their hand, if you will. Because there's a lot of projects on the MPO book that wasn't ready for stimulus funding. But they had a high priority than ours did, so we get along with them, but I did irritate them a few years ago. But we know people on the MPO. We don't really propose projects like they do. It's usually the communities that do the proposing.
so would we be better off looking at NDOT since it's a highway interchange? And, I mean, let me ask you this, is there funding out there for this type of thing through
that's what I was
NDOT?
getting ready to ask
Well,
you. You know, if
there
some,
has been, as I said, most of the enhancement funds were, City of Indianapolis, it's the last 10 years or so, has taken 60, 80% of those funds. I mean, the community gets some, but culture, all the other trail projects.
Right.
Everybody else, they really got their fair share. So you're part of the MPO, I mean, you're in line to get them. It's just getting your priority established.
do you know some of these other communities, like Plainfield and Brownsburg, do you know some of the,
Plainfield's paying every dime themselves. They don't want any of the MPO money, they don't want NDOT money. They own it, and they're gonna maintain it. And
Okay.
they're different than most communities we've worked in. They're not really even in debt. They wait till their TIF money gets big enough to pay the bill, and then they use it. They don't pay the bill later and then hope the money comes in, so.
right,
Or pay the bill at first, so. That's different than most places we work. Brownsburg, I have no idea. Stories change there every day. But I think Indianapolis, they finance everything.
Right,
Fishers, I have no idea. John lives in Fishers, and they're going some gangbusters there.
I think they're paying for a lot of stuff, getting partial funding, but not a lot.
They're the biggest boom town in the state, so they're getting new money left and right pouring into that community. So.
Fishers gets a lot of money from the MPO, a lot.
because they requested, or, I mean,
Yeah, they
Go after it.
why aren't we?
Well, plus they have the population expansion, which helps justify it.
so let me ask you this, Dennis, so if we spend the 7,500, get this plan together, then would we go to the MPO with it? How would that work?
You come up with what you want to do. And then whoever you hire as your architect will tell you what they think it's going to cost to do this.
Okay,
And then you wait until the MPO has a call for projects and see if the call for projects will include what you want to do. Then what they would do, they would help the city, or the city submit the funding application. It generally happens in November of each year, and you won't know until February or May of the next year whether you're successful or not. So you may want to go ahead with a plan on what you would like to
Right.
do. Hire your, whoever to do your planning, and then
Be ready in
Tell
November.
you what they think it might cost to do, and then wait to see when the funding becomes available.
I guess that'd be our timeline, Kevin, because truth is, we don't have the money of a Fisher's or a Plainfield. You know, Plainfield's got, what, 40 warehouses now. And, you know, they got the money, we're landlocked and we're limited on resources, so we,
Remember, it doesn't matter what the project is, if you go through the MPO for funding, if you're awarded the funding, that doesn't come in for about 3 or 4 years.
right.
Ugh.
Well, and again, it'll depend on how much it costs and how grandiose we
Yeah,
are.
we don't want to
Yeah.
wait that long.
Well, and the interchange isn't that big, so we,
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
But we
That's
could
what
do
I'm
it
saying. I'm just,
stages.
who was it? Trent told me, he goes, well, yeah, you could, sometimes it could be X amount. And he goes, you can spend several $1 million on them if you want to. It's just, you know what I mean? I mean, I don't know what the signage is gonna cost and all this stuff. And, you know, if it's gonna be like $400,000 or $500,000, then yeah, it would definitely not be something that we could do right away. But, you know, if it's more reasonable, I think we probably can. But
2012, our Plainfield art sign were, I think we had an estimated the two of them at 750,000. It was 5 years ago. So they're not built yet, so unfortunately, it's going to be $1 million yet. But we might have to, we might change that design before it's finally implemented, get the price back then. But, you know, the ones up at 86th Street, 79th Street, 71st Street, and 465 on the west side, NDOT put in themselves.
yeah,
Nobody else had to pay for that. And they're not really, you know, town signs, city signs, they're just kind of an arch framework sign.
with the street address on it.
Yeah, so they paid for those. I don't know what they really cost. They added a little bit to the bridge because they're really part of the bridge structure. Parts of them are, so they kind of had a dual purpose, but mostly decorative. Nowadays, we met with, I used to work with a lady, Ann, that runs a bridge division for NDOT downtown, and they don't want you attaching anything to the bridge if it's structurally expanding the bridge. Like if it's just a sign like a lot of the Ohio cities up there, or like Lebanon did, yeah, you can attach it. But what they say is if we have to repair that bridge, rebuild that bridge, we will tear that off, and if you want to back up, you have to pay for it again. They won't pay for it, so that's kind of the approach they've taken. Just so you're aware of it. But if it's going to be up on the railing and you know, it's not that expensive, then they're probably not going to win it.
Okay.
So, any other questions?
Not for me, not at the moment.
Comments?
Thank you.
I guess,
Thank you, thanks for having us in.
yeah,
Appreciate the opportunity.
well, let me ask the board this, would you guys want to move forward with the initial?
Definitely.
Okay, well then I would ask for a motion to approve the initial $7,500 for the design and the initial phases.
Said motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I as well. Kevin, is there a standard contract, Robert, or Kevin? Robert runs our attorney. I'd ask you maybe to talk to him and set up what needs to be set up. And that way we could get going on it. And like I say, if, you know, if we meet in May, we're off in June, then July, August, September, October, November, we'll have meetings then as well. So that anytime we need to get together, we could do it then. And if you would need a special meeting or you'd want to bring in the city council and the mayor for a presentation, we could set up a special meeting for that as well, or whoever you think would need to be seen in that.
I know, we appreciate that.
Well, yeah, thank you for coming and doing this, and thank you for the bullets.
Appreciate the opportunity here, improving this tonight.
Thank you, Kevin.
I figured you'd have to call me in 2 weeks to tell me this.
No, we're a fast
Great
acting
to meet
board.
you all.
You as well, sir, thank
Take care,
you.
Kevin.
You don't think we need NDOT's approval to investigate this?
They will do it.
They will do,
That's their
okay.
job. They'll
Okay.
come to us with a proposal and they'll handle it.
I was impressed with this board.
I was too. Well, it makes me sad. I realize how much gold they spent on all that.
Yeah.
It was millions, trust me. Next up is Next Stop Beech Grove. Next Stop Beech Grove. I was asked to hold a spot for you guys for this meeting.
Well, Diana, do you want to tell them the circumstances?
Oh, are they looking at David Terrell as next stop each day?
I didn't tell Don because we just got started. He's ill.
Oh, that's okay.
That's not part of Next Stop Beech Grove, actually. That is going to be a citywide deal. A community readiness initiative is what he's looking at. And we're just looking at, because it's going to benefit the entire city of Beech Grove, it is not part of the Next Stop Beech Grove.
Okay.
So that you're aware of that. He is not going to be here tonight. He got ill, and he contacted me about 5:30 to tell me that he was just going to head back to his home. He just didn't think he could make it
Well, if he
physically
wants to
here.
come next month's meeting, that's more than fine. We could hear him then.
That's what he asked, if he could do that.
That's not a problem. I'll make sure I get it on next month's agenda then.
Okay, I will let him know. Thank you so
Okay,
much,
not a
Don.
problem.
I can
Jim?
need an update on next topic.
Oh, sure, please, come on.
I just wanted to- For my client here.
We caught you off guard, didn't we?
You did. But
Didn't
I
mean
say
to do
something.
that. I
So
said
you're
Next Stop
good.
Beech Grove because when
No,
Diana
you're good.
contacted me.
Correct, it was, yeah, it started off that way, but we saw the benefit of the rest of the city. So, Jim Kaufman, here on behalf of Next Stop Beech Grove. So our organization started last year. We're kind of the Main Street revitalization group that started last year. So, we have hired, thanks to the help of you and the city of Beech Grove, grant administrator Mike Kleinpeter, and we're starting the initial stages of doing a planning grant. So the money that you approved tonight for Mike Kleinpeter would be the half of the 10% match. So we're looking for a $40,000 match through OCRA, the Office of Community and Rural Affairs. This month, the city council labeled the Main Street area as a slum and blight area. Something that had to be done in order to get funding through OCRA. So that was done this month. So we appreciate that. So once this initial planning grant starts, we'll send it out, or the administrator will send it out to for quotes and for bids, and then they're come through. Our one goal that we're looking for in the future is a facade grant. If you go to Greenwood, they just got almost finishing up their facade grant that they got last year. Looks great. Their downtown area, all the fronts have all been redone with new doors, new windows. All the brick's been reworked, new signage and all that. So that's our kind of a long-term goal. So the planning grant will kind of come through our area, pick some buildings that need some updating, kind of do some renderings on what it could look like, what it would cost to fix those buildings to where they can get back to, you know, the shape that they should be in. A lot of the buildings are old, so they do need a lot of work on them, and it is expensive to do. So the planning grant will kind of get us to where we know what our potential is as a Main Street area. So the planning grant will, it's I think at least 100 pages, maybe more. I have a link I can send you for Greenfield. Greenfield just got awarded their facade grant money late last year. Mike Kleinpeter actually wrote that grant and was awarded that grant for them. So their work will be starting soon as well. So yeah, so we're excited. So we appreciate you guys helping fund that initial planning grant. So.
Once the planning grant, the $40,000 is approved, what's the turnaround time for
The next part?
next step?
Well, once the planning grant is done, and then we'll start for the actual facade grant. So that earliest, and that's pushing it, would be late 2018, but that's probably where, I mean, that's pushing it, but it is possible. But again, that would be the quickest, the most soonest time, but hopefully 2018, 2019 area, somewhere around there, to hopefully be awarded, to apply and be awarded. So it is competitive. So one thing that we see as a benefit is we have a big area. A lot of our buildings are small, one-story buildings, which would be a benefit because you can make more of an impact with that money. It'll stretch farther. So
Now, it used to be 400,000. Did they increase that?
No, it's still the same. It's 400 to 500.
400
So
to
it depends,
500,
yes.
okay.
It just depends. I know Greenwood, different ballgame, they were able to provide a lot more money to make that $500,000 more. And once that does happen, we'll ask each business or landowner, property owner will ask to pay a percentage of it. So depending on who was all interested, it might range anywhere from 10 to 20%, just depending on what that business owner wants to do to their building. So if we have a whole lot of properties that want to be involved, they might have to pay a little bit more percentage-wise, or a little less, just depending on what's available and who wants to participate.
Are
So-
most of the property owners in agreement with this? I mean.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh. mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
there's a large group of volunteers who are working with our Main Street area. So we were designated a Main Street last year. So there's 4 groups of us, promotions, organization, economic vitality, and what's the 4th one? Promotion?
You got to organize the promotion.
Yeah, promotion and design, yes, sorry, design committee. So there's probably, I'd say 15 to 20 of us who are involved in the promotion and the meetings and getting all that taken care of, so. Yeah, so I serve as treasurer of that group, so. Yeah, so we're excited, so it's a long time coming, but we felt as Main Street business owners and property owners that the city has done their part, the Main Street looks great, now it's our time to kind of update it and kind of continue the progress that's been made, so.
Outstanding.
But yeah, so,
Who's president of the Next Stop?
Chris Henthorn with Henthorn
Oh.
Agency. Matt Gilkerson with Brown's Garage is the vice.
Yeah, he's been here a couple times.
Correct. Myself, I'm the treasurer, and then Angel McKenna is the secretary.
Okay.
So,
Good job.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
no problem.
Thank
I appreciate
you for
guys.
volunteering to do that.
Oh, no problem. We're excited, so it'll be good. So it'll be a couple more years in the works, but hopefully in 5 years, we can look back and say, oh, wow, it looks great. Easy as that.
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah, right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Dave, you're next up if you'd like.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Thanks for volunteering your time. My name's Dave Grenoble, and I'm with Wayland Realty Group, LLC, and we represent Peggy Fitzgerald on a couple properties in Beech Grove. And one of the properties is at 1839 Main Street, which is a vacant lot. When the RDC was started, one of the things that, or the mission statement was for the RDC to have the ability to take property tax and help dilapidated, undeveloped or vacant properties and develop those in to something that would be better in the community. Mike Fitzgerald for years tried to sell this property, but he would only allow somebody to buy the property that was going to do with the property what he thought should be done to benefit Beech Grove. And Mike's no longer with us. Peggy no longer wants the property. She's just looking to get out of it what they pretty much had into it. I saw an event. Y'all familiar with Hallville?
Yes.
Okay. There's a group in Hallville right now called Hearts and Hands. And what they do is they take over rundown properties, and they get volunteers and donations, and they rebuild the houses. But they keep it priced low enough where the average family can afford it, and they're redeveloping that community. This property is big enough to build on. Mike's got the plans for it. He had 2 sets of plans, one to build a residency or one to build an office. And this is right next to the apartments, right across the street from the law firm. I can't remember the name of the law firm.
Wager.
I'm sorry?
Oh, wager.
Yeah, so it is right on Main Street. It would be something. You guys are one of the lucky few, being a government entity, you all can be profitable. You could actually buy this property and resell the property or develop the property and sell it for a profit. That goes straight into your coffers.
I'm not sure we can do that. Robert's
Yeah.
making a face.
Not yet. There's a piece of legislation that's, I guess, before the governor. Is that correct, Dennis?
It's been passed by the House
House
and
and
Senate,
Senate.
it's waiting on the governor to sign.
That would allow us to buy vacant properties, but up to this point, we have not had that authority.
But you guys can be profitable, right?
Well, I mean.
I'm not saying about rehabbing the property and flipping it. I'm saying if you wanted to develop that, make it an office building, lease it out, do whatever you want to do with it. I mean, the property assesses for, I believe, almost $11,000, according to the assessor's office with taxes. It's 46 by 114, which is big enough to build on. We offered it to the apartment complex as long as they promised that they would not build a parking lot. We thought maybe a common area for picnic or picnic tables or grilling for the residents. And they weren't interested in doing anything other than what they already have. So we thought we would offer it to you to see if you guys would be interested or not.
We really can't own and then keep for profit purposes. We're not allowed to spend money on maintaining a acquired thing. We can fix it up and we can sell it so that it's redeveloped, but not as a income
Yeah,
property.
can't be an ongoing income.
Okay.
That's what Munster, is that Munster?
That's the Munster case.
My other question is,
I don't think the new legislation addresses that.
is this connected,
The maintaining part.
No, it just sets the parameters for why, what you can purchase and why.
my other question would be, is this even connected to a TIF?
I know at one time, 18th Street and that corner to Main was. If you buy the property, you can put it in a TIF zone because you guys are development. It's the same thing that happened when Walmart came in and Lowe's came in, and then everybody got silly with what they thought the money should be spent on, which is handcuffed all of you. Like I said before, I appreciate the volunteering of your time and the frustration that I'm sure you all have felt at one time or another.
So this is a 5,200 square foot lot for $8,000? What have you guys tried to sell it as?
They had it at almost,
What's it zoned as?
I'm sorry?
What's
It's
the-
on the form right there.
I just missed it, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I believe it's a C1, or C003 is the route. The zoning is Z001.
So does that mean it's residential or commercial? I don't.
If you wanted to make it commercial, I'm sure you could take it to the zoning board here and get the variance.
I guess my thing is, it's too small to be a business, and it's almost too small to be a residential. I mean, I don't know, I mean,
Pretty small.
my thing is, I don't know what we would do with it. I don't know how we'd develop it or anything.
I'll argue that it is in a TIF district,
Okay,
because Main Street, it touches a TIF district,
right.
so I think it would fall in that category, that's my opinion, all the way down Main Street.
It's not
Could be
physically.
wrong, but that's my opinion.
It's not physically in a TIF district. The question is it physically
changed.
connected to one such that we can spend money on it? But that's a separate question from what would we do with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, I've seen smaller lots than this have 1,200 square foot buildings placed on them. I'm not saying that we're going to build the Taj Mahal, or you guys would build the Taj Mahal, but right now you've got a vacant lot on Main Street, and it's one of the very few vacant lots on Main Street, and you have an opportunity to develop it at a very reasonable price. So we wanted to offer it to you because we know that you guys have the best interest of Beech Grove at heart. We don't want somebody to come in there and put something on the property that nobody would like to see. And like I said, she's not looking to get rich off of this or hit the lottery in any way whatsoever.
You made a valid point that I was going to mention. You may want to consider purchasing it to prevent something in the future. Just a thought.
I don't disagree with that necessarily, that idea, because you're right, $8,000 is nothing. I guess I wouldn't have a huge issue with holding that way, but how long are we gonna hold it? And then, who are we gonna have develop it? You know what I mean? I guess that's my thing, Dennis, is those are resources we just don't have.
You may take the position you want.
I think,
What does that do to us, Robert? Can we hold it? Because, we'd have to pay property tax on it, would we? Would we be responsible for property and sewer on that, Dennis?
If it's developed.
But as long as it sits there as a grass lot,
No, you don't know what the intent of the apartment complex is. You might not have an issue with the double next to it, but you may question the motive of the apartment complex should they buy it.
Right.
Don't know. And that's a way to protect yourself. I don't know, it's just my thought.
I don't think your thought's bad. I mean, that's why I like the open engagement, because again, any other thoughts on this? Ed,
Well, it was-
you've been on the council, you've
Yeah,
been Beech
it
Grove.
came
I
by a
count
total-
on you as the elder statesman of this group.
It comes by total surprise.
I'm sorry?
I knew of the property. I know exactly where it's at.
They had it up with a Realtor for a long time. They didn't
Yeah.
do anything with it.
Right.
I helped Peggy sell her house on 13th Street. She asked me if I would contact this Realtor and get it switched over. It took us a couple days, but we did. And I told her, I said, what do you want to do with it? And she said, I'd really like it to do something to benefit the community. And I said, well, I told her about the Hallville story I told you guys about, and I said, maybe we'll pitch it to the RDC and see if they're interested. I mean, it's not like you're asking $20,000.
What if we made it a little tiny park and donated it to the city?
We can do that. I think we need to address this between us.
I mean, that would be an option, wouldn't it,
And
Robert?
then
Yeah, I mean-
look at options
If we
before we
made it
make a decision.
Yes.
declaration that we thought that that would contribute to the overall economic improvement of.
Well, if we made it a park, that's better than a weeded vacant lot, or worse, some
Parks,
poorly constructed building.
Well,
Keep in mind, let's say we meet and we decide next month to buy this thing.
No, I didn't expect you to write me a check tonight.
Yeah, but what I'm gonna say is, we can't let that grass grow to 12 feet. We will be responsible for mowing it and maintenance.
ticket.
And that's where,
that's, yeah, and, mowing.
you see what I'm saying? We just can't say, well, we bought it, and I don't think it's a bad idea, but buying it's the easy part. It's what are you gonna do then? How do we maintain it?
And if you're entertaining, donating it for sort of a small park purpose, you need to talk with the park board.
Exactly, because they may not want
Park
it.
board may not want it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's what, there's a lot of things we need to
That's right.
discuss.
I agree.
That's right.
I mean, I think it's a decent proposal. I don't have an issue with it. I would ask you to give us till the May meeting. If you sell it before then, great, but, I think we are gonna have to discuss this, and I'd probably appoint Ed to reach out to the park board to see if it'd be something they'd be interested in,
Yeah.
and also talk with the mayor. I mean, you got the law firm across the street, but here's the thing, is if you own a business, do you want it sandwiched in between a duplex and an apartment complex? You know what I mean? I don't know if it's attractive as a business. Now, a house maybe, but again, if you're gonna build a house, a decent house, do you wanna live next to an apartment
No.
complex?
That's the problem.
So, you see what I'm saying? And if you're gonna build a house, it's probably gonna be, worth double the amount of the duplex it's next to. Just because it'll be new construction and all that, so, I mean, it's kind of the proverbial rock in a hard place. But no, I agree with the mayor, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get control of it. But I would ask that we maybe talk about it or something along that, but also people think about what could we do with it? Because like I say, buying is the easy part, once you own it.
Yeah, that's the difficult.
The one thing I'll leave you guys with, just so you know, last year in Beech Grove, there were 229 homes sold. The majority of them were families moving into the community that never lived here before. Right now, we're seeing that same trend, only there's a lot less property for sale. In any given month last year in Beech Grove, there were 45 houses for sale. Biggest month was August, there were 68. Right now, it's running between 15 and 19, but they're running about $10,000 higher in price than they were last year.
Oh, trust me, my property taxes thinks it's worth a lot more than I do.
Well, actually, this is the market value of the house, which you really want to be higher than your assessed value, so.
I wish it would be, but the county assessor thinks it's, I don't know if he thinks Hefner's on the front of it or what, but good God.
Well, thanks for putting me on the agenda. If
Well,
there's
thank
no
you,
more
Dave. And
questions,
like I
give me a
say,
call.
We'll get in touch with you. I think it's something I judge by some of the comments that people are at least interested in. So we'll definitely look at it. Again, like I say, can we buy it? If we buy it, what do we do about maintaining it? I think honestly, if we do it, I think we'd have to have a relationship with the mayor and the city council to figure it out, because it may be that the RDC buys it, but we'd have to have this, the city or somebody help maintain it. I don't know. Because I don't want to buy it, and the next thing I know, we leave a lot that's got weeds all over it, or it looks horrible, or worse yet, people start dumping trash on it.
That was
Maybe-
funny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dave.
Dave.
That happened to get it.
Okay, last up is the mayor with his monthly report, and we got a little bit of business to do there as well.
Dennis, will you talk about the proposed resolution?
Sure.
They've got a copy of it.
Okay. Good evening. Our Phase 2 of paving has started. Right now, it's a lot of cement work being done. They're done on Churchman Avenue on the north side there at Emerson. That's a pretty good improvement. So they're down on South 9th now, or excuse me, North 9th, I'm sorry. And that's going on. We're doing some sanitary sewer lining. And then Monday, we will open quotes for 5 stormwater projects throughout the city. This is the first phase this year. Today was the pre-construction meeting for the Churchman Sidewalk project. So that should be getting underway sometime in May. You folks had a hand in that, so you should be commended. Today, they patched and they repaved Churchman in that area that was so bumpy. So now it's much better. They've moved all of the gas lines out of the way. And Power and Light has taken down all of the lighting on the south side of the street and put up new lighting on the north side. That saved the city about $115,000. So that's all set. So all we're waiting on is the construction to start. A company called E&B Paving was awarded the bid through NDOT, and the bid came in at $979,000. So that's pretty good. We look forward to that improvement. The lighting on Emerson Avenue between Churchman and Subway, that's complete now. They finished yesterday. Had a little trouble with the sidewalk lighting. It was a different type of fixture, but it is all up and running with LED, and that's a big improvement as well. The landscaping on Churchman, on Emerson, Main Street, and the Pocket Park and the roundabout is going as we speak, and it's really looking pretty good. Happy with it. Some TIF properties that I want to update you on. Walmart, I don't know if you realize it or not, it's obviously in a TIF district, but they have invested, I think, almost $2 million in that store over the last year and a half. So that was all completed by the end of March. So that should hit the assessment to help out on the loss. I don't know if they filed for the big box break. I don't know if they did or not, but that will help you. Beech Grove Station is going very good, and they are now contributing to us. Amtrak is in a TIF district. Amtrak, over the next 5 years, is going to invest millions of dollars in the Beech Grove shops, in the buildings, and in security, including fencing, and more security. They have a new chairman who I've been corresponding with. His name's Charles Mormon. And they seem to be doing pretty good. Refined metals, the transaction for the sale to Kinetrix is waiting on one thing, and that's a letter from the EPA releasing the property. It's all done. It's all been mitigated, and there is a nationwide trucking company, over-the-road trucking company, that wants to lease that property from Kinetrix. So, and Kinetrix is on the tax rolls. So, it's important that we keep that moving. There's a development going on, they're getting ready to go on Elmwood Avenue, on the south side of Elmwood, west of Expo Bowl. So there'll be, I think it's some office space going in there. That's not in a TIF district. CSX has hired a company to sell the property north of Amtrak. Sell or develop. And CSX is going to liquidate several properties throughout the United States that they no longer want to own. So those are going up for sale. We've been talking with the company, local company, who's handling those transactions.
Yeah, I saw that. They're also liquidating rail yards. They're closing about 10% of their rail yards.
No news on 112 and 110 North 17th. There's no movement at all. St. Francis update. They are really moving good. There's at least 50 people that are working for Brandenburg on that project. They are starting to mobilize all of their heavy cranes for the property, and they have mitigated the asbestos in the center and south building, almost done with the north building. The tower building, I think they're down to the 5th floor. The powerhouse has been abated, so probably by the first part of June, then they will be outside physically tearing the buildings down. So they are on schedule, and I like them because they stick to their plan. And we've had a couple issues, but they've been really good to deal with. They answer their phone when you call them, and they meet with you at the trailer. And we have some citizens are complaining about rodents that are coming out of the hospital, but we're working through that. And I suggest to those residents that it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. But anyway, we're working through that. I have had conversations with St. Franciscan Health people about the future of the property. And obviously, one thing that will be on the property is a trailhead for the Greenway. They're pretty adamant about that, and we have been sending some drawings up to them with the understanding that these will change another 10 times before it's finalized, just to get them to think about what they would like to see on their property. And I have talked with St. Francis about some other things on the property, but I won't talk about it publicly yet.
Have you decided, or has anybody talked about like we talked about maybe getting architectural features from the hospital? Has anybody looked at that, like what, and putting them along the trailway is kind of like remembrances?
Yes, we have talked with them about it, and I haven't heard anything lately on if they're willing to, that's what we want to do, if they're willing to do it. If you go and look at the property now, especially on Sherman Drive, you'll see where they've cut a lot of them out already.
Yeah.
So they're saving them, and I just don't know what they're saving them for, if it's for us or if it's for the Sisters of St. Francis. I don't know. They'll be doing some more of that as it gets closer to coming down. But when they start to tear down, they will start at the south building. They're at the roundabout and move north. The tower will be really interesting to watch because they're going to tear it down from within. So they'll start at the top floor inside and take it down to the 6th floor. And then, once it gets to the 6th floor, then they can reach it from the ground. So it will really be interesting to watch and take that down.
Cool to see it blowing up.
It's probably not going to happen. The parking garage at the Medical Arts Building, they are designing they're going to do a makeover. It's under design now, but they're going to do a lot of cosmetic work to that building. And that will be the last thing they do. So that's going on. The council at the last meeting voted to start the planning and design for a new police station and a new fire station to replace this one down here. So we are working on that. It will take about 9 months to a year to plan and do the design on it, and then we'll go from there to see how we're going to proceed with it. But they voted 7-0 at the last meeting to proceed with the plan and design, which is really good news. The Greenway continues with, you see it by your invoices, a lot of environmental and survey work. The roundabout at Arlington Avenue is proceeding. I suspect they'll bump that up 1 year to maybe 19 to construct the MPO, because it's been identified, and I think we've had this conversation before, it's been identified over the next 5 years to be one of the busiest intersections in central Indiana. And they feel that the traffic flow will increase by at least 30%. So I think they're going to bump that up. And anybody who's out there at rush hour will understand that. Plus the economic incentives to get that project
Almost need to
done.
widen Arlington, don't we?
That's coming. That's coming. Any questions on that? So there's a lot going on. Any questions on that? Did you want to talk about the resolution, Bob?
I can, yes. Just briefly, and if I misstate anything, please correct me. There's, in your packets or in front of you, there's a resolution number 6, 2017, and this resolution has to do with authorizing the payment of the local match for the Beech Grove Downtown Revitalization Planning Grant. It involves improvements of infrastructure on Main Street from Emerson to 8th Avenue. It's not technically in a TIF district, but as the resolution says, it's physically connected, and it supports the Emerson Avenue and actually 2 TIF districts, the one to the south and then the one that's there by the Amtrak area. It supports in terms of revitalization of that area. And I can read it, or you can read it yourselves, but it's a 50% match, and that it authorizes 50% of $4,450 to be paid toward the planning grant.
So we're paying, what, 22, 25?
Yes,
That's what I thought, because we talked about this last month. And we were
Yes.
going to do the resolution.
yes.
Do we just sign this right now?
We have to make a motion.
You have to make a motion and
Topic.
pass it if you so
Right.
desire, and then you can sign it.
So I'd ask for a motion. Is there any discussion first, I should say? Okay, then I'd ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'd ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I've got one, and Kathy's got one. Let's sign 2 of them. We'll give one for
Leave your
ours
stuff here.
and one to the city, right? Do we just need 2, Robert, or 3? How many do you need us to sign?
You actually, just, how many do you normally have?
Well,
2?
you should have one, and sign one for the city, and I'll make a copy, and the copy will be ours, and the second signature I'll give to the grant writer. so you could submit it in the package. Because we have to show a financial commitment to do this.
So Dennis, you want one for the grant writer, we want one for the RDC. and
Yes.
you want one for
So
the
we
city.
need to.
I can make a copy and that'll be the
I
same.
just signed a couple of them. It's
Yeah,
all the
there's plenty of
same.
them out there, so.
Yes, that's the bills for them. You have anything else, Dennis?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I have one more thing.
Sure.
Bob passed out a Senate Enrollment Act 152. There has been a lot of bills submitted to the legislature this year. This one came out of the Senate. This deals with the right of the Redevelopment Commission to purchase property. And this has been voted into law by the House of Representatives and the State Senate. The only thing it's waiting on is a signature from the governor.
Right.
And I just want to go through it real quick. On page 4, Section 6, Indiana Code 36.7.14.19.5. This is a new section. And it says, notwithstanding Section 19 of this chapter, a redevelopment commission may purchase property in accordance with this section that the redevelopment commission determines is 1, blighted, 2, unsafe, 3, abandoned, 4, foreclosed, or 5, structurally damaged from a willing seller. B, a redevelopment commission may purchase property described in subsection A as follows, and it goes into the redevelopment commission may purchase property, and it goes on and on. But once the governor signs this will become law July 1st of this year. Then you will have the authority to purchase property. That is, meets that criteria. Don't have to.
Residential property, because before, we could purchase other types of properties, but not the
Residential.
And then can we, let's say we found a blighted house and we bought it and we fix it up, can we sell it for a profit, or do we have to sell it for what we've got into it?
I don't know. I'm referring to Main Street. This is what I'm referring to.
You're talking like second or first in Main, that one building where that guy came, one of the roof.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have, and those of us who are down on Main Street every day knows that there are blighted buildings on Main Street. There are buildings that are getting ready to fall down. And there's no sign of being repaired by whoever owns the property. So I would, as a city, and I've instructed my attorney to act on some of these properties to get the ball rolling. Today, they started working on the meat market for those who are down there. They're doing some gutting and cleanup, and evidently they're getting ready to do something, so that's a good sign.
I saw that.
Any idea of what's going in there, Dennis?
A restaurant.
A restaurant.
Fifth Street.
It's called
Bar and
Fifth
Grill.
Avenue
Fifth
Grill and
Avenue
Bar,
Grill.
I think. Is that right, Jim?
Correct.
You have the target date for opening, Jim?
They're saying 5 months, but that's all they're gonna say.
Okay.
They have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, they know it needs a lot of.
Oh, I know, but that'd be great to have another restaurant on
Correct.
Beech
They're
Grove.
excited, it's gonna be a good thing, so they were approved last month for the license with the alcohol. We're
So,
excited for it.
So are these businesses that are blighted or almost falling down, are the owners of those business willing sellers?
I don't know.
You know,
Probably one is for a price.
right,
One's for sale now, if you look at the old schoolhouse, that's for sale now, and that's pretty bad shape.
one thing that scares me is, government owning property is not a good idea, just because government doesn't do anything really well as far as it comes to that. And, we had the experience in Beech Grove a few years back of loaning thousands and thousands of dollars to businesses,
You don't do
and
that
we got
now.
taken to the cleaners on it. And one of the things I would be scared to death of in doing this is, say we buy a building And the first thing you'd hear is, well, the only reason they bought it is because so-and-so owned it and he got a sweet deal on it. You know what I mean? It's something, it's interesting they did it, but this is something that in the future, if we look at this, it would have to be with extreme trepidation because, you know, conflicts of interest, outward looks, you know, what can we do with it? That's my whole thing with this property. Buying that property for $8,000, that's really a drop in the bucket, but now you own a piece of property in Beech Grove, what are you gonna do with it? Who do you know that can develop it? You know, what is the demand? And, I mean, those are all things that, you know, you have to have a business plan. And, you know, if the city's gonna do this, we have to have a business plan. We have to, you know, hire someone to develop us a business plan or something like that before we get into the real estate business. Because the last thing the last thing to me you'd want is us owning like 4 or 5 buildings and we can't move any of them.
But if we just stop now, 5 years from now, we'll have the same conversation about the building at Second and Main, the buildings on Main Street that are getting ready to fall over. Because nothing's going to be done with them. They're just going to sit there and rot.
I know we're talking about businesses at the moment, but does this cover residential?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
I mean, somewhere down the line,
I don't know. I'd have to get an opinion.
because we talked about that as an RDC probably about 3 or 4 years ago.
Well, and if you remember, the RDC bought Beech Grove Station
Right.
and we sunk over $400,000 into that.
But I was talking about a foreclosed
Yeah,
house or
I
something.
know what you're saying, and I don't think, yeah, we've talked about that in the past.
I'll have to look at that legislation to see whether it would include single-family residential. Under the law prior to this bill, if it becomes law, in some limited cases, you could acquire multi-family structures, but not single-family.
Oh, really? Okay.
I guess, and my final thought on this is, if we were to do this, to me, we'd have to build some type of structure around how we bought stuff, and, you know what I mean, have very
You need a
detailed.
policy that, where you can point to that it's not just ad hoc because you like or dislike the seller or that assists some buyer.
Right.
Of course, you can now buy a property and clear it for economic or redevelopment purposes. So if you wanted to buy a very bad property, you could buy it and just.
Like the city of
Yeah.
Indianapolis has been doing with the abandoned houses. Yeah.
And the final thing I'll sit down is, we're on track with the Thompson Road sidewalks to apply for funding late fall through the MPO, so that's on track.
Again, it was nice to see them widen that to like a 3-lane road all the way down. And to your point, I saw somebody almost get hit the other day walking along the side of that road. Somebody, you could tell they were either looking at their phone or something and started drifting at the last second. They jerked back.
The design is probably going to call for the sidewalk to be 8 to 10 feet wide.
Well,
that'd be
it's-
good.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
So, anyway, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
Very busy.
Sounds like it. Well, is there anything else? Any final comments from anybody? Well, if not, I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank Ms. Lamping for coming, a council member who's always here. Mr. Kaufman, thank you for coming and speaking, and thank you for being involved. And then, of course, the mayor and Robert. And if anybody has anything else, I would ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
The meeting is adjourned at 8:23. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.